Hey guys, Zeth here, and today we're going to be talking about week 3 and a new tier list. So, before we talk about the new tier list, I want to thank you all for watching my videos, liking, and even subscribing. I will be uploading a new tier list every week, so if you do like the video, give it a like, you can even comment and subscribe. If you really like the video, please ring the bell. Before we get into the tier list, I just want to talk about my rank. So I am rank 1127. So I did get to rank 200, but I was pushed out. So the whales kept pushing me out. I did do a very good job, but it is very difficult to keep up there. So let me show you an example of one of the whales that I saw. So if we take a look at here, wow, wow, wow. Level 74 Engelbert, 99 Stern, 74 Mediana. And take a look at the cards. So this player just pushed me out. Now there are many whales still, and they're doing very well. They pushed me out. My units are still level 55. So I think I did a pretty decent job in PvP, especially for units level 50 and 55. Now let's take a look at my old tier list real quick. Okay, so this was my old tier list, and it was for level 50s to 60. So today we're going to be talking about all levels. Now, I know this was very controversial. Tier lists always are controversial, but for the most part, I do think that this was correct. But there are going to be many changes into this week's tier list. So let's move on and use this tier list as a reference. Okay, guys, now to the tier list. So over here in the black, now this means that these are the units that we have not seen in PvP right now. Over here we have shit tier list. So this is the poop units. And let's get to it. So we're going to be using my old tier list as just a reference. And let's see. Now Mont. I placed Mont in rank A, so I do think Mont is much better actually. So what happened is Mont is the only counter that I see right now to Federica, and because he does take out Federica, Federica is one of the top units. So Mont will be moving to S tier this time. He is very bulky and he's a very high level usually. So Mont S. Next we have Ryuk. Now he is still an S unit. He's very strong. So last time I put him in SS, I will still put him in SS. He's very powerful and he can shoot you from long range. Y'shtola, also another very high level unit. She's a free unit for us, so we see many Y'shtolas, and she does counter Mediana. If Mediana does not one-shot Y'shtola, Y'shtola will one-shot Mediana most of the time. So she is still S. Next up, we have King Old's wife. So she's still pooped here. She just goes around buffing anyone, doing no damage. So she's still weak, pooped here. Next up, we have Ramada. Ramada is still a very good counter to the fire units. But again, when it goes to the high levels, anyone who has a high Ramada, it will not be that powerful because she does have a skill that has Fennis Killer rather than full power or 20%. So she is still an A unit, which is not bad. She's still usable. Next up, we have Grace. I put her into S tier. I am wrong about that. So Grace is a good unit, but when it comes to PvP, she goes around buffing everyone, and she doesn't do much damage. So she'll go running around, healing your teammates, doing almost nothing else. So I did place her in S before. This time she will be in A. We will see if she will drop off because she's only buffing and not doing any damage. Next up, we have Wazeti or Wazet. Now this man, he is not good in PvP. He is a decent unit when using by himself and not playing in auto mode. So he is still pooped here because of the move Charge. Next up, we have Ao. Ao is a very good unit. He is very evasive, and he does do a lot of damage. The one downfall to him is there are many monks around, so they can either one-shot out or, counter him very hard. He's still an S unit. Next up, we have this Dragoon. I do not know his name, and the other thing about this Dragoon is I've never seen him in PvP, so he's still in the unknown. Next up, we have Shitzel. Now, Shitzel is decent. I put him into C tier. I was wrong about that as well, and I have seen him in PvP. He is not the best unit or anything. He is usable, and he's pretty strong. But I will put him into A tier. He does do a lot of damage. Next up, we have Marguerite, and she's still a time mage. I've never seen her in PvP, so she's still in the unknown. Next up, we have this monk. I do not know her name as well, and I put her into poop tier, but actually she shouldn't be poop tier. She's a decent unit, especially if you build her up. She's a decent unit. She does do good work in PvP. She does do quite a bit of damage. The only thing is she is a little bit squishy, so she does get destroyed by Mont. Remember, there are many Monts around, and they're very high level, so she is going to C tier. Next up, we have Fina. Fina is a pretty decent unit, but when it comes to PvP, she is poop tier. She just goes around buffing, doing no damage. Next up, we have Shadow Lynx. Shadow Lynx is very good. She's very evasive. She does do a lot of damage. The one thing is there are many Engelberts around as well, especially if you move up to the high tier. They can usually one-shot Shadow Lynx, sorry. Okay, so she is still S tier. Alright, next up we have a new unit, Nasha. Now Nasha is also pretty good. The problem with Nasha is she is an ice unit. I've never seen her in PvP, so we will put her into the unknown. Okay, next up is the healer, and I do not know how she is in PvP. Again, I think she's going to be poop tier, so she's still in the unknown. Never seen her once. Next up, we have this thief. I don't know his name as well. I put him into C tier. He's not C tier. I will put him into B tier. Actually, he is very evasive. He does do damage. His movement is not too bad, so B tier it is. Okay, now it's time for the UR units. Alright, let's take a look at Eileen. Eileen is decent. So one thing about Eileen is people underestimate her damage. She can one-shot Federica. I've seen her do very high damage. So you usually don't see her in PvP much, but when you do see her, she's someone to be reckoned with. So Eileen is still S tier. She is very slow, but knowing about the Espers, if you put Shiva on her, it's quite impressive. She becomes faster because Shiva's agility is very high. I know Shiva is mage based, but Eileen paired up with Shiva, agility boosts up, and so she can do a lot of damage. Okay, alright, next up we have Yerma, the new unit. So about Yerma, we still do not know much about her in PvP. The one Yerma I had faced was level 35, but I destroyed it because it was a level 35, so we still have to wait around to see how Yerma actually does. So she's moving into the unknown. Next up we have Thancred. Thancred is still very good. He's a high level usually in PvP, especially if you move up. Sorry about that. I've never seen anyone above level 89 as of right now. So I did put him into SSS tier. Right now we'll put him into SS, and later on we'll see who are the units in SSS tier. Next up is Mashari. Mashari is a decent unit, but when it comes to PvP, no thank you. Mashari does almost no damage. She'll probably do, like 800 damage on you, fine. But the problem with her is that she doesn't one-shot anyone. And the other thing about Mashiri is that when she is hurt, she's just gonna go around healing herself. So she is still C tier. Alright, next up is Shiza. Now, Shiza is very powerful. I underestimate her in PvP. This is one of the units that took me out a few times. So I thought she is very, very squishy and not very evasive. So the people who have had Shiva in their party, she becomes very evasive and she does do a lot of damage. So I did underestimate her. So she is SS tier in Arena. The AI is also not very bad with her. Next up we have King Rob, and King Rob does do a lot of damage. With King Rob, we do have to be careful. He is also another evasive unit. He is easy to one-shot with Stern, but when it comes to King Rob, he is an SS unit. Okay, King Oldie. So King Old is pretty strong. As I said before, he is SSS tier. I did put him into a very high tier. He is not broken. He's just not countered very well right now. So King Old is SS, and we will see if he's still SSS tier when it comes to all levels. Next up is Gilgamesh. I placed him into SS, and I do agree with that. He is an SS unit. He is very scary in PvP. So he is an SS unit. Next up is Stern. Stern can usually one-shot Medina. He's also very fast. He does very high damage. You can say he does take out most of the light units except for Engelbert. Also, he does get countered by Thancred, but he can also be faster than him and take him out depending on the position. So do be careful from that. He is still SS. Next up, we have Federica. Federica is very top tier. The only person that does really counter Federica is Mont. So Eileen can also take out Federica, but we don't see many Eileens right now. So Mont does counter her very hard. But she is SS. Next up is Ayaka. I put Ayaka into B tier and I put her into SSS tier. Now, I do agree that she is still a B unit if you had messed her grid up. So she does go around healing everybody. I am still going to make a copy of her. So B tier is one of her copies. The next one is an Ayaka built correct. So this damage dealer does do a lot of damage. She does counter Bond. She does counter what's the name? Not Thancred. She can counter Thancred and also what's the name? Engelbert. Sorry. Yes, she can counter Engelbert. So she is still an SS unit. And next up is Engelbert. Engelbert is very strong. He has very high HP. He can one-shot many of the mages. He can survive a couple of hits from mages as well. So he is also an SS unit. Alright, and last up is Mediana. Mediana is very good in PvP. I did put her into S and SS. I was also wrong about that, so I will be putting her into S tier. Okay, now finally guys, let's talk about the SSS units that are breaking the game. Okay guys, let's take a look at the SSS units. So first up is Thancred. Thancred is still SSS tier. He does do very high damage. He is also very powerful, high HP, decent mobility because he has rough divide. So a very scary unit. So be careful from a high level Thancred. Next up is King Oldie. Last time we had him SSS. I do not want to put him in SSS anymore. He does lose to many of the other units such as Thancred, Engelbert. So also he will lose to Stern. So we're going to keep him into SS this time. He still doesn't have a direct counter. There are no water units to take him out right now. So he is SS. Next up is Federica. She is still an SSS unit. She can one-shot Medinas. Also, her range, she can shoot from far. You can do many good setups with her. So she's an SSS unit when it comes to PvP. Okay, let's move this. And we're going to add the next unit. Okay, now let's take a look at Ayaka. I placed her SSS. Now I am going to take that back. She's a very, very good unit in PvP, especially if you build her correct. The only problem is, if she's on the defensive team, Mariana can one-shot her easily. So she is going to stay in SS. She gets very, very countered hard by Mediana. So she's going to stay into SS. Next up is Engelbert. I'm going to be placing him into SSS. When it comes to high levels, his HP is through the roofs. He does do very good damage. He's an amazing wall. The only person who can counter him is Ayaka and Mediana because he is weak to mage based. So anyone doing mage on him, it hurts him a lot. But the problem is they can't one-shot him, and he will follow them and he will kill them. So he is an SSS unit in PvP right now. Now, the last unit I want to place into here. So this one unit is so strong. I did not expect this at all. I versed a very low level this unit, and he just completely by himself annihilated my whole team. And that is Gilgamesh. This is an unbelievable character. I was shocked to see how powerful Gilgamesh is. Okay, let's just quickly talk about him. So I had a team of Federica, I also had a team of Engelbert, and I had a team of Mediana. So these three units, I took out their Mont and I also took out their Y'shtola. Fine, that was easy. And I was also pretty much still at full HP. Then this dude, level 45, comes around, destroys my whole team. So I was like, okay, was that just a fluke? Was my setup wrong? No. So then I faced a level 80 Gilgamesh. I know, I was just reaching for the stars, but he completely destroyed my team as well. Of course, he would. But just by himself, he was able to take out all of my units. I faced another one, level 55. I want to learn about him. And again, he destroyed me. So this unit is completely broken in PvP. There could be counters to him, especially, what's his name? Maybe Thancred can one-shot a Gilgamesh, but as of right now, not from what I have seen. So with Gilgamesh, he is able to do very high mage damage to my tank. So I don't know if he even is mage based, but I think he is. But he just destroys my whole team every time. Whenever I see him in PvP, I leave. I do not face him anymore. So far, Gilgamesh is very top tier. I think he is the best unit in PvP right now. But one thing, do not place him into the first position, because if you place Gilgamesh into the first position, he could be countered by Federica, because she has immobilized, and if he does get immobilized, game over for Gilgamesh. Okay guys, that was my tier list. This is what the tier list I think looks like in this week. Again, this is not based on any level, it's overall. So thank you all for tuning in and watching. I do hope you liked the video. Again, if you do like this kind of video, I will be uploading it every week. Please do give it a like, and please do subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.